Zoom in on that. Okay, this is a video to show you how to put the hoses on Aeroquip 666 stainless steel braided hose. This hose has got a braided stainless steel outer part and a Teflon core in the middle. So this is a reusable fitting that we're going to put on it. It doesn't require any special tools or anything, just common things you'll already have around the house, around the shop. Okay, first we're going to take this fitting and just unscrew it here to take it apart. When it comes apart, there's a little brass fitting inside of it you don't want to lose. That's important. And we'll get that ready to use here in a couple of minutes. This hose can be cut in several ways. You can cut it like I do with a great big pair of special cutters like this, which probably not very many people are going to have. Or it can be cut with a hacksaw, but you do need a fine tooth blade in the hacksaw to cut it, and then wrap a little bit of masking tape around it, put it in a vise, and cut it through the masking tape with a fine tooth blade. Or another way to cut it is with a power tool, a cut-off disc right there. You can start that up. This power tool will slice through it like butter if you've got one of these. But either way will work. Now, when I cut it with my pliers, we'll call them giant pliers, it squashes the end of it flat. You can see the end of it is squashed pretty flat. And to get this braid to unravel, I'm going to use just a regular pair of pliers here to start it with. And that's the whole point of this, is to unravel the stainless steel braid from around the Teflon core, so you have room to put this little small fitting down onto the Teflon core. Okay, you just take a pair of pliers, get close to the end, leave a little bit of it sticking up here. Can you see that? Just a little bit of it sticking up, and squash it. And then turn it about 90 degrees and squash it again. Do this several times, and that just gives us a starting point. It starts unraveling the braid. That's what it will do for you. Remember that? Okay, we'll do that a few times. And you can see that has started unraveling it. It doesn't look anywhere at all like the other end did. Now we've got a starting point. Now, with a common pair of wire cutters, what we're going to do is grab a little bit of this braid here that's unraveled and peel it back. Just grab a few strands at a time and peel it back. I used to do this with a screwdriver, and invariably I would stick my fingers and I'd wind up bleeding before I was through with this thing. So we're going all the way around here, peeling that stainless steel braid back away from the Teflon core. And there we go. That didn't take long at all. We've got a Teflon core sticking up here now. And you have just enough room to put this little brass ferrule onto it. We'll stick that onto it. And it's important that you push this all the way down. You cannot push it too far because it will bottom out and you just can't go too far with it. To get it on there good and solid, I'm going to use the edge of the desk here and just kind of push it in good and solid and wiggle it around a little bit. And okay, the Teflon core is pushed all the way up to the bottom of that little ferrule now. Okay, the next thing we want to do here is make sure we put this end on there. That's the bottom end. And when you're making your hose, it's really a pretty good idea to put, you got two fittings, one on each end of the hose. Now this is just a scrap sample here. It could be any length hose. We're going to put two of these on here. one for each end of the hose, back to back, like that. Because you don't want to forget this. Once it is flared out, you got all this braid sticking out, it'd be impossible to put that on. So do it now while you still can. Now the next thing we want to do is take this part and we push it down inside of there. But if you can look inside of there, there's really not a real nice round circle. So we're going to make it round. Take an awl and we're going to stick it down in there just as far as it'll go. Just twist it around a little bit. That will straighten out the Teflon core and make it much easier to push this part down inside of it. So now we'll push that down in there, and it will be a very, very tight fit. Not the easiest thing in the world, but there we go. It's pushed down in there now. Okay, now I'm going to take the bottom half that we've got on our hose here and push it up. This threads on to these threads right here, so we'll just push it up. And as you push it up, what you need to do is watch and see that none of these pieces of stainless steel braid go up far enough that they overlap the threads. If you've got enough of this out here that it's going to overlap the threads, it would be impossible to thread this on there with the steel wire sticking over the top of them. So if they do overlap the threads, what you do is take the dikes and give it a haircut. You can go around this thing and clip a little bit off here and there and just give it a haircut until none of that will overlap the threads. Now we'll push it up there, and I don't see any overlap in the threads. We'll put it in a vise now. Clamp the bottom part in the vise. Now we need to push these two halves together. We got our 9/16 wrench. We need to push this part down into the other part. So I'm going to put a little pressure down on it, good firm pressure down on it, while I try and get the thread started. So hold it down real good and firm. Looks like the threads are starting. Once the threads have started, you got it made. Just keep on tightening it up until there is a little bit of space right here on between the brass part and the steel part here. There should just be about 1 or 2 threads, about enough room to stick your fingernail in there, but it does not go 100% down on there. There will be a little gap right here, but not much. There's that tiny little gap right here I was talking about. Leave about that much showing, and it's on there. You're done. Just do the same thing with the other end, and you've got a hose. Now, Larry, go back down here. And that's how you put the ends on Aeroquip 666 stainless steel hose.